Welcome to Empowering Voices Advocacy in Action, the podcast that amplifies the voice of patients, advocates, and healthcare leaders driving change. Together, we'll explore stories, strategies, and solutions to empower you to make an impact. Let's turn advocacy into action, starting now.
So welcome today to our very first podcast with Heal Canada. Today, we're honored to have Tyra Langille, who is with us today. Tyra is a cancer patient in oral cancer, and she has written her article for us in our Heal Canada digital magazine, issue number 3, that has just come out today. So thank you, Tyra, for joining us today. I hope you're having a good day. And let me start with asking you to share a little bit about your background and your personal background, maybe before your diagnosis with oral cancer.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, for one. Background before oral cancer. I was working full time at my job I've been at for about 6 years at the time. I was very outgoing. I was a dancer. Loved being outdoors. I'm a big foodie, so I was always eating food. So just like the regular schmegular young adult, I was getting ready to, move out with my now fiance, but getting ready to move out, save money, and then I was hit with cancer. It all kind of changed.
Wow. So no history in your family with cancer or oral cancer?
I mean, with cancer, yes. I've had my great-grandma had my grandma had lung cancer. She also had thyroid cancer. And then my other grandma had cancer all over her body, but nothing of head and neck cancer was ever in my family. Just cancer here and there throughout the body. But yeah, I'm the first case in my family for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And a lot of us have had older folks in our family who have had some form of cancer. I know my grandmother, ended up having leukemia and things like that. So yeah, absolutely. Older folks, the more we age, the more the propensity or opportunity there is for cancer to be present. But yeah, absolutely. So what were some of your initial signs or symptoms that led you to think that something was wrong?
Well, the biggest one was that I had like the sore on the side of my tongue, which looked like a regular canker sore. So it wasn't anything crazy at the time. I was going through doctors to see if it was something I should be worried about. Everyone just kind of brushed me off. They're like, "You look healthy, you're fine." And then around like the 6-month mark before I was diagnosed, I was losing weight. So I was having trouble speaking and eating. Um, I also had a horrible headache and a horrible ear pain all the time. So once that started to happen more often, I was able to show these doctors, like, I'm not just having this sore on my tongue, I'm having all these other symptoms. I'm fainting, I'm not able to eat, drink. So finally my doctor was able to get me with an ENT. And right from there, the doctor was like, "We're going to do a biopsy today." We did it, and I was diagnosed within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness for your perseverance because you knew obviously something wasn't right. Like it just
Yeah.
didn't feel it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's important. And I think that's something that we need to share with those who may be seeing some anomalies, in their body or in, their daily life, to be cognizant about those changes, right? To be cognizant about what you're seeing. Because, I know when we're young, I know when I was young and your age, you have the world by the tail and, you just kind of think, oh yeah, whatever, it's something else. But good for you to be so observant that, it wasn't just something that you could slough off, right? Something that,
No.
oh yeah, you brush aside. So
Yeah.
good for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all really have to advocate for ourselves. Unfortunately, within Canada, yeah, we have free healthcare, but some of the times you don't really get seen as often or they don't really take you seriously. So we know our body's best and having to fight for that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And nothing against our GPs, but
Yeah.
our general practitioners are so overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed in every province. It doesn't matter where you live in Canada. Yes, I say we have one of the best healthcare systems in Canada. Absolutely. But it's so overburdened and overtaxed that our general practitioners, really, and they're general practitioners. So they don't get to see some of these abnormalities or, nuances in someone's health all the time. So they may not have the, real, how do I say it, the needed understanding of what that might be. And so they're perplexed as well, right?
Yeah, I still see the doctor that I've been with since like I was 18. So he was the one that was trying to understand what was happening. And after the fact, he apologized and he was just, I've never seen this before. And you look so healthy that no one would ever think that it was cancer in your mouth. But since then, he's on top of things. If anyone comes in with this and this, he's like, yeah, test right away. It's not just kind of throw in medication or maybe it's this and that. So I'm very happy that I was able to be like the lesson for him and that now he's able to use that or my experience to use that with other patients. But yeah,
Absolutely. And I think, as much as I say doctors are really, really smart human beings and they're very good at what they do, but they're only human as well, right? And they can miss a lot of things. Not that they purposely do that, but it's just because again that they might not have the experience or that they've not seen something like this, as well as they have so many patients that they have to see. So sometimes things fall off the plate. So, talk to me a little bit about that moment when you heard the word cancer. This type of diagnosis can be so profound for many people. How did you feel when you first learned that you had an oral cancer? And what were your immediate concerns or even fears that you had?
I think with anyone that hears that word, you see so much happen in front of your face. It just light flashes before your eyes. Um, I felt overwhelmed. My mom was in the room, so I instantly looked at her and she started to, tear up. I was just, I don't know, I just felt kind of at peace knowing that I wasn't going crazy for the last 8 months before I was diagnosed. Overwhelmed, I was upset, but I also felt like the need to like just let's get this going, like instantly fight mode. The ENT I had was incredible. He had great bedside manner. He was it made me just feel so comfortable and safe. And hearing how he knows how the situation would unfold made me feel comfortable. It wasn't just like, "Oh, you have cancer and that's it. Have a good day." It was like, "This is what's gonna happen. This is what you're gonna go through." And then he recommended me to my surgeon, who is one of like he's on the head and neck cancer board, and he goes around the world teaching about stuff like this. So hearing that he's very well known made me also very comfortable. And then meeting with my surgeon, he's amazing. Like, I can't even speak more highly about him. Like, he is just awesome, and he and his team made me feel so comfortable. So, like, although I was so afraid of having that happen to me, I was like, I feel like I'm in great hands, and I was, like, ready to put all my trust in them.
Absolutely. So you had
Yeah,
confidence in your team. Absolutely.
exactly.
And that's exactly who they were. They were your team.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
here to help Tyra get through from start to finish
mhm. And I
through
felt like
this
I
whole
was their
process.
only patient too. Like, I obviously, all these surgeons have so many patients, but I felt like the attention was only on me when they were with me. Even when they were and they were checking in on me, like, I just felt like I was their only patient. So it makes you feel good after all that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what would you say, or could you walk us through your treatment journey a little bit? You've talked a little bit about surgery, what type of chemotherapy, or even what lifestyle changes you've had to make. So, walk us through your journey a little bit so that our folks listening can understand what an 18 or 19-year-old person had to go through, once you got that diagnosis.
Yeah. So, well, I was 25. So, wish I was 19, but I was 25 and like, it's just, I don't know, like the whole journey of it was a lot. I will not lie. I'm still in this journey. So it's a lot to handle all the time. But once the surgery happened, it was a 14-hour surgery. They took muscle from my inner wrist and reconstructed the half of my tongue was taken. I had a full neck dissection, about 100 nodes, so from ear to here. I then had a trach tube, a feeding tube, and then they did a skin graft on my upper leg to cover up the part where they took on my wrist. And then my surgeon also removed my salivatory gland in my cheek in my mouth and put it up more in my cheek so radiation wouldn't hit it if I had to have radiation. So Just the surgery alone, that's 14 hours. Obviously, I wasn't awake, but that's just a long time. I was in the hospital for 14 days after that. I had to relearn how to do literally everything, down to brushing my teeth, speaking, eating, swallowing, breathing on my own after the trach tube, and just trying to grasp like how I go forward from here. That was 2 years ago, so now I can say that I'm a lot better of where I am now than where I was before, and it's taken a lot, but I'm happy that I'm able to eat, I'm happy that I'm able to drink, and to swallow, and to speak. My speech is still it alters from time to time. If I'm too tired, it slurs more. Um, if I talk too much the day before, sometimes my mouth is sore, so I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate the whole journey, but yeah, it's an ongoing process.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would never even say that, you don't even look like you had an oral cancer or, a head and neck cancer. Like you
Mhm.
talk so well,
Thank you.
you're resilient, you have good color, you look good. You'd never even say that you 2 years ago, in this journey. So what were some of the most significant challenges, maybe that you faced or that you feared? And how did you manage to overcome those?
I think the biggest one was my speech. Maybe like the way my face is now structured a little bit. I have a little bit of like swelling right here, and that's just from radiation and the surgery combined. But the biggest thing, like, is yes, my speech. I was okay with eating. I was like, at this point, like, I'm a foodie, but I refuse to not eat. So I will always eat my food. I'm gonna try everything. It doesn't matter if I can't do it fully. I'm gonna do it. But yeah, my speech is the biggest one that I really had to sit back and have to mourn the old version, but also accept the new version of me at the same exact time. And that's still a process. There's days, like I said, like I'm talking, my speech is super clear. Some days it's not. And then how I got through that, I mean, I think the people around me just was always like, Tyra, you don't sound different. You'll be okay. It'll get better. And I think also they don't try to hold me to that old standard of myself of how I used to sound. Sure, videos have come up and I've been like, I remember that voice. But they've been able to remind me, like, you sound the same to us. You don't sound ever different. Yeah.
The new normal, right?
Yeah.
And we have to look forward in our thinking, right?
Yes.
Not
I
look
agree.
backward and
No,
not worry about what was behind us, but what's in front of us is really truly
exactly.
what
Yeah.
matters. So,
Mhm.
as I know you were one of our participants in cash education and
Yeah.
learning and being a better patient advocate, support systems can be a really crucial role in a patient's cancer journey. Who was there to support you and how did they help you through this challenging time?
Oh, goodness. So my family, obviously. I had a few friends that were supporting me, but and then also my now fiance. He has been I probably wouldn't be here today. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I wouldn't be here today without him.
That's okay. You know what? That's fantastic.
Yeah. So him combined with my family, like they pick me up when I'm down. My mom and my dad, they always drive me to every appointment, no matter what. My sister, my older sister, she lived in Airdrie, so she still lives there, but she spent so much time here. She's also the reason why I'm also here. So yeah,
And you know what? And that's okay because I know being a caregiver for my late husband, I know exactly
yeah,
what that means. Having that family, having that support system. Those people were your rocks.
yeah.
And you know what? And without our support systems, without our advocates, without those people surrounding us and keeping us uplifted and strong and determined, that's what really keeps us going through any journey, right? Absolutely. So, yeah, good on your family that, and your friends and I'm sure coworkers and other people within your life were so very supportive. But, it's really those people, those advocates that we really, depend upon to help us get through those challenging times. So, and sometimes these, and it's very cliche, but sometimes these types of situations make those connections stronger. They make those binds that we have with people even stronger because we've gone through something really tough together. Absolutely. So good. I'm glad to hear that you had really great advocates for
I
you
did.
while you were
Yeah.
going through this journey.
Yeah.
Just a couple of questions before we finish up here, but there's often a focus on the physical aspects of a cancer treatment. But what about your emotional and psychological impact that you had? How did you cope with that? How did you, at some point just say, "Oh, can I just get a break here?" Or, what was your mental health state like? Did you ever have and I think you'd be normal if you said, "Yeah, I had some downtimes." Absolutely, because everybody has those downtimes in any type of a journey, let alone a cancer journey. But how did you cope with those ups and downs and those opportunities that challenged you
Yeah.
psychologically or challenged your own mental health?
I think I'm still going through that process. I'm trying to figure out what helps and what doesn't. I will say in the beginning of the whole journey, like I was very, very positive. Like I would have doctors being like, "You're like our favorite patient. You're never down about anything. You take our news and you're just like, let's do it." So I think maybe a little bit at the beginning I was very strong in the whole process, and I never really allowed myself to feel those emotions. But at the same time, I don't really have a chance to. I feel like when you go through this stuff, you don't have a second to just breathe. It's either you're instantly doing surgery or treatments, or you have a billion appointments for this stuff, so you don't really have a second. So when I've had those down times where I've lost control of my emotions, I allow myself to feel. And I always say, "It's okay. I'm having a bad moment, but we'll be good. I'll push off," or "I'm having a weak moment," or whatever the saying is. But I still have those moments today. I still deal with sad thoughts. I still grieve the old person I was and all the old stuff I was able to do that I'm no longer able to do. So it's a journey for sure. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to go about it, but just allow yourself to feel the feelings. If you want to cry and scream. You have every right to be. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally
Mhm.
agree with you on that. And I wouldn't even say it's a weak moment. I would say it's a me moment. I think patients and caregivers and people, going through, whether you're a patient or a caregiver or a family member, and you're going through a journey with someone like you have gone through, I think it's okay to say, "You know what? I'm having a me moment." And that's what I called it when my late husband was, going through his journey and I would have a me moment. And usually it was away from him because I didn't want him to see me have, a me moment, as I called it. And, I needed to be strong for him. So I think it's okay. And as you said, have that moment. And, if you need to cry, if you need to, expel some energy or expel something, that you're frustrated with, expel some frustration, have that moment because I think that that's healthy. I think that's healthy for anyone going through a journey like you've gone through. So, absolutely. So, good on you. That's fantastic advice. Absolutely. So, looking back at one thing you wish you maybe had known at the beginning of your cancer journey,
Mhm.
what would you like to share with others who might be just starting a cancer journey? What
Yeah.
words of wisdom can you share with them?
Sure. Well, in my situation as an oral cancer patient, I wish I would have known that one, this exists. I'd never met anyone before that had oral cancer. Obviously, I know cancer can happen anywhere in your body. Just didn't know. I would also like to know that the dentists that you see are supposed to be doing these screenings. They're the ones that are supposed to be able to tell you, like, "Oh, that looks abnormal. Let's send it off to something." I didn't have that before. Even throughout my journey, I didn't have that. So I want people to know that, like, you're supposed to go to your dentist. I think it's every 6 months they do a screening on you. They look around your mouth, look down your throat, they touch your neck, all that good stuff. Um, and whoever's going through a cancer journey, I just want them to know, like, you're more than your cancer. Um, to feel those feelings when you have that second to just step back, because it is overwhelming. It's hard to have or find the time to do that. And I just think try and be as positive as possible because I do believe truly that being positive through your journey will help you get further in your journey. I feel like being miserable, rightfully so, being miserable. I was miserable. But being miserable all the time and just hating so much stuff is not good for your body. And I think that your body, when you're positive and like you're allowing your body to do what it has to do, it helps you get through stuff easier, maybe. But yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree that a positive outlook in life
Yeah.
helps your body be positive and create that positive energy that it needs to utilize to fight, right? To fight whatever you're having to fight, whatever that journey is. I believe that if negative emotions and negative energy consume you, it just makes it even harder for your body to fight that. Because it's when we're faced with negative situations, we get tired really easy, right? It's taxing on us, on our minds, on our bodies. And I know it's hard to say, but if we can face things that are put in our obstacles, barriers, if we can face those with, as you say, like you've had, such a positive attitude, I think our bodies respond to that positive energy and are able to fight much better. Absolutely. One thing that you can share with our listeners or our viewers, how has your experience with oral cancer affected your perspective on life and the things you value the most? I mean, you talked a little bit about your fiance, you talked a little bit about your family. What is one thing that you could tell us that from your perspective that's affected you, or what, maybe on your outlook, what has changed?
Yeah. I just think I see life differently. Like, I really care about the small moments. Even just like hanging out with a friend. Like, I really cherish the moment we have together, even if it's just grabbing coffee. Like, I just feel that when you go through something like this, your entire view changes on so many different things. So just enjoying every moment you have, being lucky to be here is what I always say, and tasting food. Oh my gosh. Be happy you can eat. Be happy you can taste. Like, that is the best thing ever.
Wonderful. Well, and that's so important because young people, I know when I was your age, I thought, I had the world by the tail, right?
Yeah.
And you don't think of your mortality at any point in time until
Yeah.
you start getting older.
Mhm.
So, last words of advice from you. Finally, what message of hope or advice do you have for others who may be currently battling an oral cancer or any form of a cancer? Based on your own experiences and your journey to recovery, what words of wisdom can you share?
Keep fighting. You got this. It's it's a hard journey, but it's doable. I'm here. I'm 2 years clean. No cancer, nothing. And I didn't think I was gonna be here 2 years ago. So it's doable. It's tough, but it's doable. And you just gotta fight.
Well, such an inspiring and empowering story from, someone who's 25. You've experienced a lot, and I think you have such words of wisdom and guidance for anyone to be able to take from your journey and your experiences and really empower them. And that's what Heal Canada is all about is looking at patient advocacy, in empowering people to be better advocates, to engage them in their own journey or the journey that they are experiencing with a loved one or their community, and educating people about what they need to be educated on. So thank you so much, Tyra, for being here with us today
Thank
and
you.
sharing your story.
Of course.
And I look forward to keeping connected with you, and over the next how many umpteen years,
Yes.
we'll follow your story and continue on sharing, caring about one another, helping people be better advocates. So thank you so much for being on our podcast today. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And we look forward to bigger things from Tyra.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thanks again. And I hope everyone has enjoyed this podcast brought to you by Heal Canada and our sponsors.
Thank you for joining us on Empowering Voices Advocacy in Action. Stay inspired, stay informed, and keep advocating for change. Together, we're stronger, amplifying our collective voice. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Your voice matters.